Hello there, my name is Martin Henley. This is the Effective Marketing YouTube channel. If you've been here for a second, you will know that I'm on a mission to support you to be successful in your business. Now, the only way I know that you can be more successful in your business is by being more successful with your sales and marketing. So not only am I here giving you everything I know about sales and marketing, I'm also pulling in anyone I can find with experience of sales and marketing to extract their knowledge and experience. I'm also bringing you the marketing news every other Wednesday, and we are also reacting to the best and the worst of marketing content on the internet, which is what is going on today. Now, you might think that this is a shameless ruse just to bring more great content to the channel, and you would be absolutely 100% right, but there is an element of Jeopardy going on here. So I'm not selecting what it is that I will be reviewing today. That job has already been done by Clay, and what is going to happen is we're going to look at the links, and then we're going to decide what it is, or pick one of the links that Clay has decided is worthy of reaction. So if we go to to Clay's list, you can see there's a list here. Oh, number 6 is already highlighted. So there are 6 here, and the universe seems to think it would be a good idea for me to react to number 6. So let's go with number 6 and see what Clay has in store for us. Okay,
people on the historic date of 11th of January.
Okay, so this is interesting. It's the genius marketing strategy of Marlboro cigarettes. Okay, so there might be,
people on the historic date of...
There might be a bit of a theme happening here because the last one was Coca-Cola. So these are not very healthy brands which are marketed brilliantly. Now, I've got views about smoking. My dad smoked for more than 50 years. I smoked probably for more than 30 years. I quit again about 18 months ago, and I'm completely clean and very happy that I am clean from smoking cigarettes. But I've got a theory about the way that cigarettes are marketed. So it will be interesting to see what they say. So this is only 8 minutes. So let's watch bits of the video and see what they have to say.
11th of January 1964.
Okay, let's go.
People on the historic date of 11th of January 1964, it was officially declared by the United States government that cigarette causes cancer. And within a day, an $8 billion tobacco industry and the incomes of 750,000 families was at stake. While most companies saw their sales dropping down, there was one company that miraculously went from having just 1% market share to becoming the 4th largest cigarette brand in the world in less than 1 year. And after 1970, when cigarette advertisements were permanently banned from televisions, this brand became even more popular to go on to become the largest manufacturer of cigarettes in the world. This brand that I'm talking about goes by the name Marlboro. And Marlboro today is so huge that it has got more consumers than its next 10 competitors combined. The question is, what the hell did they do? Because of which the very same cancer report and the ban, which is essentially supposed to kill its business, ended up becoming a stepping stone for Marlboro to become a $58 billion brand.
Wow. Okay, so good. So I didn't know any of this. I mean, I knew obviously that cigarettes cause cancer, and I knew that obviously there was a reckoning, or there was a point where the American government came out and said cigarettes cause cancer, but I didn't know that Marlboro only had 1% of the market at that time. I didn't know that Marlboro was doing better than its next 10 competitors combined. I didn't know that they only had 1% market share at that time. So there must have been some genius marketing strategy here. I'm interested to find out what it is. And I will share with you my theory, whether it's in this or otherwise. My theory is more about how tobacco is marketed rather than how Marlboro do their marketing. Let's watch. Let's see.
The answer to this question lies in one of the most iconic marketing strategies ever witnessed by mankind, which is called as lifestyle marketing. Now let's try to understand this using a very simple example that is closer to home. If you're a 90s kids and you watched Sachin Tendulkar play, I bet you that at some point in your life or someone in your friend circle must have bought an MRF bat. And chances are that...
Right, so he's talking about cricket. If you're watching this in the United States, you probably have no idea what he's talking about. This guy's clearly Indian. He's talking about cricket. Sachin
life or
Tendulkar,
someone in your friend circle must have bought an MRF bat. And chances that at some point in your life or someone in your friend circle must have bought an MRF bat. If you're a 90s kids and you watched
Sachin Tendulkar, yeah. So he's an amazing cricketer who came from India. I saw him play once when I was in South Africa. That was a crazy night. So yeah, Sachin Tendulkar, amazing cricketer. He's saying everyone bought an MRF bat, which is clearly the cricket bat that he's using there.
Sachin Tendulkar play, I bet you that at some point in your life or someone in your friend circle must have bought an MRF bat. And chances are that when you visited the store, you knew nothing about English willow, Kashmir willow. You did not care which wood the bat was made of. You did not care whether it was original or duplicate. You just wanted a bat. And then you had two choices, bats with no stickers and bats with MRF stickers. And you chose the MRF bat by default. And then after that, God knows how many years later you realized that the full form of MRF is Madras Rubber Factory. And the fact that MRF is primarily a rubber tire manufacturing company which just happened to sponsor Sachin Tendulkar. Later on, this very same thing happened to Reebok when Dhoni started using Reebok bats. Now here the question is it a coincidence that millions of children all across the country were so stupid to mindlessly buy a bat with a sticker of a rubber tire company? If not, then how the hell did this even happen? Well, here's where the magic of lifestyle marketing happens. We all idolized Sachin Tendulkar and we all wanted to be like Sachin Tendulkar. So subconsciously, the MRF bats made us feel as if we were holding the exact same bat as Sachin Tendulkar himself. So to put that straight, what we essentially bought into when we bought MRF bats is not the bat itself, but the connect that it had with our idol, that is Sachin Tendulkar, because we wanted to be like Sachin Tendulkar. Now in the US, the same thing happened to Nike's Air Jordan shoes lineup, wherein when Nike signed up Michael Jordan, the fascination for Air Jordan shoes became so crazy that even today, after 18 years of Michael Jordan's retirement, he still makes $100 million every single year just in royalty. This is what we call as lifestyle marketing, wherein consumers buy more into the lifestyle of the icon who's associated with the product than the product itself. And this is exactly what the marketers of Marlboro cigarettes did to their brand. After the 1960s...
Okay, so I'm remembering now, like the Marlboro Cowboy, the Marlboro Man, the whole this thing. They really did a job on this character. But why $54 billion today still? Don't know.
1964 report, which was released by the Surgeon General of the United States, brands started to do everything in their capacity to keep their reputation. Some brands tried to justify cigarettes, while some brands completely disapproved the very research itself. Back then, Marlboro was a very small company that made cigarettes only for women. But as soon as this news broke out, the parent company of Marlboro, which is Philip Morris, decided to shift their method of marketing and became an epitome of business propaganda in the 20th century. So what the marketers of Marlboro did is that instead of justifying smoking and using statistics that were difficult to understand, they came out with a campaign called the Marlboro Man, wherein they introduced a character who was supposedly everything a man wanted to be like, and they named this character the Marlboro Man. Marlboro Man was a cowboy who had a perfectly built up body, and the commercial showcased him as the ultimate archetype of manhood. He was tough, affectionate and stylish, and overall stood as the icon of freedom and manliness. And just as we kids bought into MRF bats, men of the 1960s were so fascinated by Marlboro Man and started buying Marlboro cigarettes that the commercial became a massive game changer for the company. And within a year, Marlboro went from having less than 1% market share to becoming the 4th largest cigarette manufacturer in the world. And the fun fact is, in all of those commercials, cigarette was not even the primary subject of focus. In fact, cigarette as a product got less than 10 seconds of footage time in all of those commercials. And because of this, even when cigarette commercials were permanently banned from television, and brands couldn't show cigarettes in their commercials on TV, Marlboro was very easily able to navigate through that situation because their focus was anyways not on cigarettes but on Marlboro Man himself. And that is how they were able to communicate their emotion very easily, even through print and magazine. And this is the reason why even after the 1970 ban, Marlboro's business still kept growing. In fact, the sales skyrocketed because the rest of the brands were struggling to market their brands without showing their products. And that is how Marlboro became a legend in advertising and laid the foundation for Marlboro to become a $58 billion brand. Now, more than a business lesson, there is a very, very important life lesson that we all need to learn from this iconic case study. People just like Marlboro in the 1960s, even today, what we often fail to realize is that we are constantly being bombarded with lifestyle cigarette commercials that do not appear as ads, but in the form of pop culture icons. Now, this includes a James Bond appearance wherein he appears in a tux and symbolizes gentlemanliness, or Kabir Singh, who's portrayed as the epitome of manliness. Now, regardless of how lucrative they look, what is important for us to understand is that they are merely tapping onto your insecurities to convince you to do something which will give you a feeling as if you're an elevated version of yourself. But the truth is, because of your lack of self-awareness, you don't realize that your insecurities are putting money into their pockets, eventually to make those companies billions of dollars, but to turn you into a sick, miserable addict of either cigarettes or social validation, depending on what you're buying into. So keep your eyes open and do not fall into these traps. And last and most importantly, my big brother's advice to you is, always remember that buying dumb shit will never make you feel happier or make you a better version of yourself. The only thing that will make you feel better is your acceptance of your insecurities and imperfections. And at the end of the day, if you do not embrace your insecurities, some billion-dollar brand will dig into your misery and make a fortune out of it. So think about it, and if you think I make sense to you, then help me spread this message by sharing this video with as many people as possible. And like once a great woman said, imperfection is beauty, madness is genius. And it is better to be absolutely ridiculous than to be absolutely boring. And if you learned something valuable, then hit the like button to support our channel. And for more such insightful business and political case studies, subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Wow, I'm a little bit in love with this guy. This is incredible. Apart from he can't pronounce epitome. It's not epitome, it's epitome. So let's go back and grab bits. I got really interested. This is a brilliant, brilliant video. It's had 3 million views, 135,000 likes. The channel has had 93 million views, 1.64 million subscribers. This is another one where it doesn't have a date on it. It's really annoying. People were commenting a year ago, a month ago, 10 months ago. Can we sort this by newest first? A day ago, and the oldest was 4 weeks, 1 month. Yeah, I'm trying to work out how long it's been here, but it's a brilliant video. I'm hoping, the reason I'm really interested is because I'm hoping that they are still making videos, because this is genius. So what actually is he saying? Well, it's very clear what he's saying. He's saying that they are leveraging essentially your insecurities to make you buy something. This isn't a million miles away from my theory about how tobacco marketing works. He's 100% right about the lifestyle. They do this a lot, don't they? But the tobacco industry have done it, and Marlboro have done it better than anyone. This is the genius of them. And I remember everyone being fascinated with the Marlboro Man. And he never really said very much or did very much, but he was always, you know, not very far from having a cigarette. And I don't know, when they brought the ban in on advertising, like, because it used to be that Grand Prix cars would have tobacco advertising, and when it went away, it was a big issue. So then they just carried on with like the subtleties of the colours. Like, so they would have, for example, Marlboro colours on a racing car. I don't know if it got banned entirely. But anyway, let's see. There's bits of this that I was really intrigued by.
Icon of freedom and manliness. And just as we kids overall stood as the icon of freedom and manliness, and just as we kids bought into MRF bats, Men of the 1960s were so fascinated by Marlboro Man and started buying Marlboro cigarettes that the commercial became a massive game changer for the company. And within a year, Marlboro went from having less than 1% market share to becoming the 4th largest cigarette manufacturer in the world.
Okay, so this is interesting because for me, like bragging rights, this product is causing... I'll tell you what a doctor said to me once. When I was smoking, this must have been 10 years ago, I went to see a doctor because I had a cold or something or an infection. I wanted some antibiotics. And he said, do you smoke? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get cancer, probably, blah, blah. And what he said to me is, you don't need to worry about the cancer. What you need to worry about is 30 years of emphysema. The cancer will take you out in 6 months. The 30 years of emphysema will make you miserable in your old age. And that didn't really resonate because I only gave up like 18 months ago. But that's the point, is that this product makes you sick. There is no two ways about it, whether cigarettes cause cancer or otherwise. This product makes you feel sick. It makes you smell bad. It makes you weak. It makes it so you don't have energy to do stuff. This product shouldn't be available for sale, if you ask me. It clearly damages people, but it is available for sale and they do sell it. So there's no big, I don't think, there's no big, you shouldn't be very proud if you are the 4th largest cigarette manufacturer in the world. But it is kind of impressive that they went from 1% market share to being the 4th largest in the world in the space of a year. I will tell you, any sensible marketer will tell you that marketing takes time, but from going from 1% to the 4th largest in the world in a year, that's not very much time.
And the fun fact is, in all of those commercials...
The fun fact is, they're not even featuring the brand. So if you're in the UK, you will have seen the Alan Sugar show, The Apprentice, the British version of You're Fired. And very often he'll give those people, I haven't seen it in the last 10 years, but what they used to do is give the teams the exercise of advertising their brand. And he would always go ballistic if the brand wasn't front and center. But what Marlboro are doing here is the much more subtle thing, which is just like, this is about this, but you don't need to be told very clearly this is about the cigarette. You know it's a cigarette advert, you know it's about the cigarette, but here is whatever it is, 20, 30 seconds of, how cool it is to be smoking cigarettes. So that's what's interesting. That's also interesting to me about this, is it's very often, I think, the subtlety of the marketing message. And we used to be really good at this in the UK, very subtle advertising. And it's not the bold brash, in your face, buy this thing, buy this thing, buy this thing. I don't think that's what works. So very often the subtlety is the thing. So let's go on to what he was saying. They couldn't show cigarettes. I don't think they couldn't advertise. And then after a while it came off billboards and stuff. So they couldn't. $54 billion brand. Okay. Now, more than a business line, we all need to learn from this iconic case study. Yes, we do.
From this iconic case study. People just like Marlboro in the 1960s, even today, what we often fail to realize is that we are constantly being bombarded with lifestyle cigarette commercials that do not appear as ads, but in the form of pop culture icons. Now, this includes a James Bond appearance wherein he appears in a tux and symbolizes gentlemanliness, or Kabir Singh, who's portrayed as the epitome of manliness. Now, regardless of how lucrative they look, what is important?
So this is true. This is still going on. And you have to think, like, why is this product still available? Why are they still able to smoke in films and on TV programs? I mean, they used to smoke I smoked cigarettes on aeroplanes. Can you imagine being on an aeroplane for 16 hours as a non-smoker and the people in the row behind you are smoking? That, to me, seems to be insane that was available to happen. They used to smoke on the underground in London until there was a massive fire, I think, in the mid-80s, and then they couldn't. But clearly the underground is full of rubbish. To have people lighting cigarettes, carrying matches on the underground, it was insane. Every car came equipped with 3 ashtrays, like 1 in the front and 2 in the back in the armrests. So it was assumed that everyone who drives a car or is a passenger in a car is going to want to smoke. So the pervasiveness of cigarette tobacco consumption is actually insane. It is actually insane. But this is really close to my theory about how come people are still buying cigarettes.
Important for us to understand is that they are merely tapping onto your insecurities to convince you to do something which will give you a feeling as if you're an elevated version of yourself. But the truth is, because of your lack of self-awareness, you don't realize that your insecurities are putting money into their pockets.
Okay, 100%. So I'm on the conspiracy scale, but I don't think there's like a Illuminati or something running the world. I mean, we're all clear about the corporations and the governments and the people who are running the world. So I don't think there's like a global conspiracy going on. But I think what has definitely happened is that the machine, the entire machine, like the media, the corporations, everyone, like that, the machinery has learned that we need to be unhappy to be good consumers. That is to say that the less happy we are, the more likely we are to buy things. And I know this from my own experience, and if you think about it, you will know this. I know if I'm unhappy because I will start buying stuff that I don't need, and I will realize, like, when packages start coming to the house, something's gone wrong because I don't need to be buying all this rubbish, you know. But I think this is what goes on. I think this is why, I don't know if this is why, but the news is always bad news. It grinds you down, you know. Like sad songs get a lot of airtime, sad movies, sad books, songs about relationships breaking up. It feels like the whole of media almost is not by design necessarily, but by practice or in practice is kind of causing the record levels of anxiety and depression that we're seeing now. And I think the reason that happens is because the machine has learned that actually unhappy people make better consumers. They buy more stuff. So this is 100% true. Why? The cosmetic industry, the cigarette industry, you have to be, this is coming close to my theory, so I'll share that with you when we're done. But the cosmetic industry, for example, like they have to convince you that you don't smell good enough to sell you their deodorants and their perfumes, or you don't look good enough to sell you their makeup. So I think this is what the machine has learned. If it makes people unhappy, they make much better consumers. They buy more stuff. He's 100% right here.
Essentially to make those companies billions of dollars, but to turn you into a sick, miserable addict.
A sick, miserable addict. What better marketing? Yeah, this goes to my other issue about, okay, so I'll come back to that. So I need to write stuff down. So addict and, yeah, addict. I can write that down.
Of either cigarettes or social validation depending on what you're buying into. So keep your eyes open and do not fall into these traps. And last and most importantly, my big brother's advice to you is always remember that buying dumb shit will never make you feel happier or make you a better version of yourself.
That's 100% true. And this is the paradox of me being a marketeer and me trying to support you to be a better marketeer or a better salesperson is that I think this rampant consumerism that we're experiencing in 2022 is not healthy. It's not healthy for the planet, that we are driving through the planet's resources so quickly, that we are causing so much in the way of pollution, water pollution, air pollution. And I don't think it's healthy for people. I don't think it's healthy for your mental health. I don't think it's healthy. So you might buy something and then immediately it arrives. You're not happy with it. You have buyer's remorse. Everyone knows what buyer's remorse is. You know, we laugh buyer's remorse. Oh, I've got buyer's remorse. But it didn't make you happy. It didn't do the thing that you wanted it to do. And this is the promise of the products that you buy, is that you will be happier when you do this. So the paradox for me as a marketeer is I justify this to myself. I'm not in the business. I mean, I'm literally in the business of letting people know that things are available. The people who are looking for things, letting them know that they are available. So I'm not pulling on people's heartstrings. I'm not making them feel bad or good or anything like that. I'm not an emotional seller. I am a literally, this is available if you want to buy it kind of seller. So that's how I justify it to myself. But yeah, this guy's a genius, or whoever wrote this is a genius. And the way he's presenting this is insane. The fact that he's spoken, it doesn't look to me like this is, he's using a teleprompter. It feels to me like he's saying this off the, he's either memorized this. I mean, it's just genius that he spoke for 8 minutes. Maybe he's just well practiced and rehearsed.
The only thing that will make you feel better is your acceptance of your insecurities and imperfections. And at the end of the day, if you do not embrace your...
Right, so that's not the only thing. Like, stop buying dumb shit, like he said already. That will make you feel better. Stop doing stupid things. Stop consuming so much media. Get out and enjoy the world, take some exercise, get breathless, help other people. All these things will make you feel better, not just embracing your insecurities. Maybe you don't have to embrace your insecurities. Maybe just pay less attention to your insecurities would be my recommendation. I'm not qualified. This isn't health advice. I'm not qualified to advise you on that. But there are my recommendations. If you want to feel better about yourself, stop buying dumb shit, get out in the world, get some exercise, help some people. Don't let your insecurities become the focus of your being.
Insecurities. Some billion-dollar brand will dig into your misery and make a fortune out of it.
100% believe that. 100% that, like, these billion-dollar brands are all doing this. This is the business model.
So think about it, and if you think I make sense to you, then help me spread this message by sharing this video with as many people as possible. And like once a great woman said, imperfection is beauty, madness is genius, and it is better to be absolutely ridiculous than to be absolutely boring. And if you learned something valuable, then hit the like button to support our channel, and for more such insightful business and political case studies, subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much. I will see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye. I don't know what that guy's name is. I am going to subscribe. I'm interested to see more of their content. Let's have a look at what's going in here. Who else came here after seeing Soulja Boy's reference? I've got no idea who Soulja Boy is or what the reference might have been. Bought the MRF sticker back without knowing. Good content, great content, really good content. I used to smoke Marlboro, now I quit smoking because of this video. That would be brilliant. Love you, think school, understand the case of Marlboro, but how does MRF stickers on cricket bats work in their favour? Okay, well, you did just explain that to you in the video. Clicked on this right while I'm lighting a Marlboro. You mug, you shouldn't do that. Kind of introduction Ganesh Prasad used to give was so much better than this one. This feels like watching a news channel. Oh, so they've changed it. Okay, just check multiple of your videos, and I like why you are so genuine to general people. Just can't believe you rely on the facts revealing all the truth. Dark side of business. Thanks a lot. Okay, good. All right, so this is good. So what I want to do is I want to give you my theory about this addiction and why people are buying cigarettes when everybody knows that these things are really, really bad for you. So my theory is people buy cigarettes because they don't like themselves, because they have some kind of self-loathing. And I think it's the kind of motivation that goes along with self-harm. So I think because, you know, anxiety, depression, all these things are where they are in 2022, there are lots of people who really don't like themselves very much. And I think smoking cigarettes is a form of self-harm. That's what I think it is. And I think, though, even now, when the preventative kind of action, they're putting these hideous photos on of like open tracheotomy operations, people with holes in their throats so they can breathe, you know, all these hideous gum diseases, like photo evidence of the harm that cigarettes cause, people are still smoking. And I think that's because they're doing it to hurt themselves. And these photos just reinforce their view that this is an effective way to hurt themselves. And the other thing I think is that people continue to smoke partly, well, it's perfect, isn't it? You don't like yourself, so you smoke. And now you smell of cigarettes and you're coughing and you've had to go and stand outside in the rain. So now you're going to be liking yourself less. So you're probably going to have another cigarette in an hour's time, and on and on and on. So the more you smoke, the less you like yourself. So the more you smoke. And so it's a perfect cycle like that. Then the other thing that goes on is the reason that people think they can't quit, that they can't stop smoking, is because we're all told that cigarettes are addictive. And I don't know if they are. I mean, I have known people who have been addicted to heroin, for example. Heroin is properly addictive. Heroin has a very definite effect on you. If you stop taking heroin, you will feel the very definite effects. I've stopped smoking twice in my life, and I didn't feel any ill effects. And in fact, if you are looking to give up smoking, you should read the book, The Easy Way to Stop Smoking by Alan Carr. That's how I gave up the first time. He just runs all the way through these arguments, and it's complete junk. The thing about the addictiveness is what Alan Carr tells us in his book is that when you go to bed every night, you effectively give up smoking. So the physical pull is enough all the time you're awake that you want to have one every hour to top up your nicotine levels. But the physical pull isn't enough to actually wake you up every hour whilst you're sleeping to have a cigarette. So what he's saying is that, well, what he says is that 24 hours clean and there is no nicotine in your system anymore, so there is no physical pull. But actually, you essentially give up smoking a third, like 8 hours every night. If you sleep for 8 hours, if you don't have a cigarette, then you're effectively a third of the way to being clean. So read that book if you've not read it and you want to give up smoking. That's the great way to do it. It didn't work for me the second time. What worked for me the second time was just making up my mind that I didn't want to smoke anymore and being deliriously happy about it. And I haven't smoked for 18 months. I've got no intention of smoking ever again. This, Clay, was a brilliant video. Thank you so much for bringing it to my attention. I hope you found it interesting and useful. I hope that you are maybe a little bit more motivated. If Marlboro can sell 30 years of emphysema, lung cancer, smelling bad, being poor, being a social outcast, if they can sell that, you 100% can sell the benefit that you are bestowing on the world. So get motivated about doing that. Thank you so much for being here for this video, and I will see you. I won't see you, but you'll see me every day because we're putting something up every day as the new mission. See you soon.